You're listening to Boss Builds, the show on Build Up where we turn stat blocks into character sheets so that you can be the boss at your D&D table. Be sure to watch the video all the way through, comment down below on how you would make today's build, and like and subscribe to keep your feed bossed up. Let's dive straight into the video. So let's go ahead and open up the stat block for the Hoplite. As you can see here, it has an 18 in its armor class from the breastplate and the shield. It has max hit points of 52 and a walking speed of 30 feet. It has a 16 in strength, a 16 in dex, a 14 in constitution, an 11 in intelligence, 14 in wisdom, and 13 in charisma. For saving throws, it has plus 5 in both strength and dex. It has a passive perception of 12, and its language is common. As far as abilities go, it has a hold the line ability, where when the Hoplite is holding a spear, other creatures provoke an opportunity attack from the Hoplite when they move within 5 feet of it, and when it hits with an opportunity attack with its spear, the creature takes an extra 4 piercing damage, and the creature's movement speed becomes 0. And as far as actions are concerned, it can make 3 melee weapon attacks or 2 ranged attacks with its spear. Both are going to be plus 5 to hit. The range will be 60 feet or 5 depending on if you're throwing it or not, and it's going to do 6 piercing damage or 7 if you use 2 hands. And then it has a shield which you can use shield bash with, which is plus 5 to hit. It does 5 damage, and if it hits you, it's going to force you to make a strength saving throw of 13 or be knocked prone. So it's basically a control build, controlling the enemy and doing basically frontline work for the party in the back. So let's go ahead and get into the actual building aspect of the video. So you can just see me naming the character, putting the portrait in, doesn't really matter. Make sure you tack off all your sources though, so you won't be limited in options when you build it. And for the race, I went ahead and chose Human Sentinel from the Akroan book because it gives us more defensive options, which is kind of what the monster is based off of. So the language doesn't really matter, but make sure you tack the ability that lets you modify the ability scores that you get for the race. For my background, I went for Soldier, where we get the athletic and intimidation proficiencies, which is going to help us out a lot on the front line. And then for my ability scores, I went for Standard Array. Strength is 15, Dexterity is 14, Constitution is 13, Intelligence is 8, Wisdom is 10, and Charisma is 12. And go ahead and put the plus 1 in Strength and the plus 2 in Dexterity, so we can start off with 15 for both of those, which is going to help us out a lot at level 1. For class, I went ahead and chose Fighter, and we're going to be staying there for the whole build since it will give us everything we need. First level proficiencies, we get Perception and History, or you can choose those. And then for my fighting style, I went for Interception because it basically helps us to take attacks for my allies and help them out. Second level fighters get Action Surge. You can take an extra action once per short rest. And then third level fighters get a martial archetype. Go for Samurai for the fighting spirit, allowing us to give advantage on our attack rolls. And then for our skill, we chose Perception. That'll be for level 3. Level 4, we get a ability score improvement in strength, so we can go ahead and double up for that so it could be an 18. And then for our level 5, we get an extra attack, which is going to allow us to basically attack twice, which is going to be really good. Now if you're starting here, you can choose your starting equipment, so it really doesn't matter if you have the choice for a spear, choose that, because that's basically what the monster has. Make sure if you can, get a shield as well, so that way you can start off with a really good AC, because you can have chainmail and then your shield, which is going to come in handy, so that's going to be good. Back to the build though, for level 6, we get another ability score improvement or a feat, and go ahead and cap off your strength so that you can have a level 20 strength at level 6, which is going to be really good. Level 7, you get Elegant Courtier, which gives you proficiency on wisdom saving throws and on the persuasion ability, so that's going to be good for you. Level 8 fighters get another ability score improvement, so you can start doubling up on your dexterity so you can get better armor class in the future. 9 level fighters get Indomitable, which basically says you can reroll saving throws that you choose. 10th level, you get Fighting Spirit, or Tireless Spirit, where you can use another Fighting Spirit per short rest. 11th level, we get another extra attack, and then 12th level, we get another ability score improvement, so you can double up on dex again, so you can get a better armor class. Level 13, we don't really get anything, but level 14, we get another ability score improvement or a feat, and this time I went ahead for the Resilient Dexterity feat, which basically gives us proficiency in dexterity saving throws. Level 15, we get Rapid Strike, where we can take an advantage with our rolls and basically turn one of those into an extra attack, so we can attack 4 times per turn now, which is really handy. Level 16, we get yet another ability score improvement or a feat, and this time I went ahead and went for the Tavern Brawler feat, which gives us unarmed strikes, and we get proficiency with any weapon. Level 17, we get another Indomitable, and level 18, we get Strength Before Death, which basically says before we hit 0, we can make a turn on the spot. And then for 19, we get our last ability score improvement or feat, so I went ahead for the Sentinel feat, which basically allows us to take opportunity attacks when someone enters our range. And then for level 20, you get another extra attack. So now that we've got the build out of the way, we can go ahead and get into the breakdown of the actual build. So the first thing that jumps out is that we have proficiency in 4 saving throws, including Dexterity, Constitution, and Wisdom, which is really good. We also have really good skills that are related to combat, so athletics and things like that. Intimidation, perception, things like that. And we also have good equipment, so like we have good armor, like chainmail, which allows us to basically raise our AC. Also with a shield, we're doing pretty good. And as far as attacks go, we basically, straightforward, 4 attacks per round with whatever weapon we're holding. So right there you can see I have the dagger. And we also chose, I think, a glaive, which is 2-handed, and you can attack 4 times. For our bonus action, we have Fighting Spirit, which allows us to basically add temporary hit points, and I have an advantage on attack rolls, which works really well with our rapid strikes because we can turn that advantage into multiple attacks, which is going to be 5 at level 20, which is really good. We have our Sentinel attack, Strength Before Death, just allowing us to basically remain on the front lines because that's what this build is focused on. And Action Surge is going to help us out too because that gives us extra extra actions that we can use for basically whatever. Twice per short rest, which is going to be really good for us. And yeah, so basically the name of this build is basically we're going to be in our opponent's face, dealing as much damage as possible. We're not movement, we're not running. Our Sentinel feat is going to allow us to shut people down by making their movement speed 0 and things like that. So that's going to be good. Now the weaknesses is that this doesn't have any inherent magical damage, and it's basically no range, so those are going to be pretty important weaknesses. But other than that, that's not really what you're meant to do. So as long as you're in front of your opponent's face, you pretty much have lots of options to basically stay in front of them and keep your opponent in front of you while your squishier members in the back can basically, sit back comfortably without the threat of all those enemies on top of them. So all in all, pretty good build, pretty good offensive build and physical. So in conclusion, this build is basically, I think it's really powerful. Obviously its weaknesses are basically easy to figure out. I mean, it has no magical damage, it has no ranged attacks. The glaive, I think, has a lot of reach, but I mean, you're not using this build for ranged attacks. You're basically using it for being able to be right in front of your enemy and doing as much damage as possible. And this build is really good for doing it because at level 20, obviously, you have the 4 extra attacks where you can attack 4 times. And then if you use your rapid strikes and basically shave off one of those advantage attacks, it'll basically give you another attack so you can attack 5 times, which is great because the glaive is 1d12 of damage plus your strength modifier, which is really good. You have pretty good AC at 18. You're not stealthy, but that's not your goal. Again, you have really good saving throws, and you have good health. So all in all, it's a really good build. I really like it. Straightforward, but it's simple and it's effective. And we had that one goal in mind, and we were able to meet it clearly. So yeah, that's going to be the build. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe and all that. And yeah, see you next time.